Do you love Jesus? Do you love America? Do you love yelling at strangers? If you answered yes, then there is a new version of the good book for you. The All Caps Bible. The All Caps Bible has everything from the sacred text you would expect. God creates the world in 6 days. Noah saves bunnies from the great flood. Jesus preaches God's message in the Sermon on the Mount. However, the All Caps Bible levels up the message by putting everything in all caps. That's right, you don't have to go to church to hear God's message yelled at you. This Bible will yell at you while you're reading it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Christians love the All Caps Bible. Here are a few reviews. Mason in Dallas, Texas says, I don't feel guilty anymore yelling at the Starbucks barista. Karen in Oklahoma says, Jesus' message of forgiveness is better when you yell it. And Tommy in South Bend says, who knew the little drummer boy was such a jerk? Buy the All Caps Bible right now and get a loudspeaker so you too can spread the good news. You get everything for a low, low cost of $89.99.
All right. It feels right about here and right about here.
Oh. So are people actually listening to me right now, Chris? Is this what's going on? Should I act like I'm going to act like people are listening to me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that brave step forward. And I don't know if people can hear Chris, but we're going to have a lovely conversation, and Chris will come in when he can. I can hear you, Andy, but not Chris, says the lone wanderer's bunker. Daniel, say something clever.
There we go. Okay. Wow.
All right. So Chris is going to work in whatever Chris is, in the hive, in the bunker, in HQ, while Daniel Fisk Bennett and I talk about what we're going to talk about. How you doing, Daniel?
Oh my goodness. Can it not be the 17th yet? It's still dark outside.
Well, you might be surprised, but everything is white outside. And I'm not talking about Christian fascism at all. I'm just talking about... I was
going to ask you, are you near a Trump rally?
Right. It is nothing but snow. If I turn my camera around, y'all can see exactly what's going outside my window here. And there you go. The great city of Somerville, blanketed in snow. Nothing but snow.
I plan on a little bit jealous.
You're jealous of snow?
Hell yeah. I love snow.
I discovered that I started hating snow once I started having to shovel it, Daniel.
They make those little machines, those little rotary tiller machines that just blow it out there so that way you don't have to deal with it.
I have many traumatic memories from childhood, and I'm glad that you brought up snowblowers, because I have a traumatic story about my father's snowblower.
Test.
I feel like I should have you in a futon and be talking to you about this.
Yeah, he had this giant orange beast of a machine, and I'm surprised he didn't give himself a heart attack.
I think they can hear me now.
Can they hear you now?
Let's test it. 1, 2. All right, they can hear me. Carry on with your snowblower story, and I'll listen.
So I am surprised
fume for a moment
that the man never gave himself a heart attack from starting up that snowblower.
Oh my gosh!
I remember being a young lad and volunteering to try to work the big machine myself. And the thing is that not at all. It was just an out of control beast. That was what it was. And it was large orange. I think it was built. I think it might have been some kind of
orange, out of control.
No, who are we talking about?
A segue.
That seems like a segue, exactly.
Okay, real quick, let me kind of pop in here real quick and say good morning, my fellow burners, and hello to everybody.
Chris,
I'm supposing you can't hear me. I muted myself on purpose, and now you can hear me. Good morning, my fellow burners and everybody out there. Hello, it's Thursday.
Self-silencing, Chris, is the worst kind of silencing there is.
It is. Well, no, not really. The worst kind is whenever somebody else interrupts you, and then you become silent because you've been polite and let somebody interrupt you. That's I think, the worst kind of self-silence.
It's like I'm being silently judged.
Yeah.
Chris is just scornfully looking at the screen.
We just know how that goes. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you all can hear me. I have a tech issue. For some reason, it seems like I reboot my computer and all my monitors in OBS have to be reset and all my audio throughout. Something is amiss with my computer. I'm not sure what it is. So sorry for the troubles this morning. Thank you for carrying the weight of the show, Andy, and Daniel, as we got started. So now, did you guys hear about the thing yesterday?
There are many things, my friend. I spent most of it just involved in snow porn, which is basically here in the Northeast. You basically
on point, Andy. On point. Maybe the thing that has to do with the topic of the show. The topic.
Snow porn?
No, absolutely not. That's why I said on point.
On point. We want them. In fact, are we talking actually about? I thought we were still doing patter. I thought we were doing patter.
Are we doing patter? Okay, okay, go ahead. Well, I was trying to change from the patter to the show topic as I do every day.
So
and
the
I was
show
like, the thing, and you're like, oh yeah, the squirrel over there. Anyway, tell us about the snow. You don't get snow often, or what?
Well, we haven't had a lot of snow since the horrible winter of 2015, where it was snowpocalypse all the time. This is the first major snow that we've had for years, to tell you the truth.
Snow? I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah.
Well,
it reminds me when that senator grabbed the snowball from outside and brought it into the Senate, trying to claim that there's no such thing as global warming because he made a snowball.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember. What the hell's wrong with these people?
Oh.
Well, we had that here. I'm here in New Mexico, so whenever it snows really hard, we just wait till after lunch. It's usually good. Nothing like what Andy's probably experiencing.
No. I plan to stay in my apartment for a couple of days, basically. Maybe until I'm seriously telling my kids, and I know this is wrong. I know that this is wrong, but part of me just says, do I really want to shovel? Do I really want to leave? And this snow's going to be here for a while, guys, for everyone out there. It's because the snow's going to be here for a while. And so should I just tell my kids I have COVID and so I don't have to see them until after Christmas? Yeah. There's a thought there. There's a thought in my head about that. My girlfriend.
Somewhere there's a social worker sitting here watching the show.
My girlfriend basically vetoed that idea and said, you can't do that, Andy. It's wrong.
Well, if you were to just actually get COVID, problem solved. No moral dilemma. Just start licking doorknobs.
Go to a Trump rally.
Go to a Trump rally, exactly. So I remember Sammy Jenkins wants to know what snow porn is. Snow porn is basically when you just watch the news just to see the weather reports every 5 minutes coming in, and then there's pictures of the sand pile because there's always pictures of the sand pile and the trucks getting the sand and the salt ready for the roads, and then you have the reporter talking to everyday people. So what do you think about the milk and the bread shortage here in the stores? It's horrible. It's horrible. People are here getting toilet paper as well as the bread and the milk. So that's basically what snow. And then when the snow actually hits, that's when you're really glued to the TV just to see how apocalyptic it is outside, and you get to feel good about being inside. Downward social comparison going on there with snow porn.
You're just sitting there waiting for the highlight reel of the auto accidents. It's let's see how bad it could get.
Right.
They were talking in the chat about hating to shovel snow. Isn't that one of the biggest heart attack things up in the north? People out shoveling the snow.
Yeah, you get guys my age, in their 50s who are just sedentary, and then they decide to go out and shovel this horrible heavy snow. And you can die. You're going to stroke out or get a heart attack. And guess what? If you stroke out and get a heart attack, it's highly unlikely for an ambulance to get to where you are in your snowdrift in time to get you to the hospital.
I'm kind of curious if I could science the shit out of that and just wind up getting one of those propane torches and just start blasting the snow with that. And
they got things. They've got things. That's one of those life hacks they've got out there. Things, I don't know. Not me though. Of course, again, here, if it gets really bad, I just have to wait a few hours.
Right.
It'll melt off, and it's not that bad. But
so that's my entire field. Now, you want to get to the actual topic of the conversation, Chris?
Which topic? Wait, but before the show, you said you were going to talk about something. Was that it?
Oh,
I thought you had something else on your mind too.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So before
Andy's going to stroke out on the show.
Before we start talking about the apocalypse,
remember, Andy,
right?
fast, face. No, I'm sorry.
Breathing. I'm breathing. I'm sure those of us who are on Facebook or any social media have had friends, longtime friends, that suddenly turn into Nazis, for lack of better wording, that turn into Christian fundamentalists
or family.
Somewhere. So family members, friends. This is a friend from high school that I hung around with quite a bit. We played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons back in the day. Yeah, he was always kind of religious, but he really got crazy religious in his 30s. And once he started having kids, that happens to people. And I had to defriend him off of Facebook. And Daniel and I were talking about this before the show started. I was working with people who had disabilities, for a while. I was in the ER with one of my guys, one of the clients, one of the participants, and they were being watched, or the doctor was working with them. I was waiting, and somehow I got into this kind of flame war with this dude about Alan Turing, the man who helped crack the Nazi code, the Enigma machine in World War II. And if you don't know about Alan Turing, then you really should Google his name. Alan Turing is gay, and that after the war, it turned out the authorities found out he was gay, revoked his. He came out to a horrible end, horrible end. And so I got into this whole flame war with this guy on Facebook while being in the ER for hours and hours. And I'm like, done, just defriended. I do not have the time or the energy to try to convince this mook. Yeah, I'm going to use that word on this show, mook. Faith-based mook about basic humanity and compassion. So fast forward to yesterday. Guess who sends me a friend request? My buddy, not going to... I am not even going to protect his real name because he is guilty as sin, as secular sin. Ed Gontars, if you're listening to this right here, never going to be your friend again on Facebook. Not friends with fascists, not friends with Christo fascists. I'm sorry, that just does not fly with me. So I don't know if anyone else has had that kind of experience, but I just had this flurry of and just retelling the story. You could tell it gets me kind of worked up too.
Well, you're also kind of coming off that thing with Nokasuchi, aren't you? Between him and Smokey Saint, where Smokey Saint's going after his family, and you kind of got wrapped up in that as well. So I can imagine you being a little sensitive to dealing with these religious fascio trash. Just saying.
Rage isn't here. I appreciate what Rage does. He does important work. I don't know if I could do what he does in terms of getting into people's faces day after day after day after day. I'm a guy who spins jokes. I want to make people happy. And I think if I was in Christians' faces as much as Rage was, I think I would lose my sense of humor. That's what I think. I think I would just lose my sense of humor.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
I look at those kinds of people as being just a professional liability to even be around. The things that they say, I mean, they may not have much to lose, but the way that I see it is like just even associating yourself with that. I mean, if they're posting horrible things and they see your name is attached to that individual, that's fodder. That's professional fodder. And so whenever I see somebody, I had to distance myself from a whole bunch of people that I knew in the Navy just because of the things that they said. Because I was afraid of professional backlash.
Don't you get a lot of, like rage debates with a lot of Christians? You're more into the pseudoscience, so you end up arguing more with like flat earthers and stuff like that, right?
We get it all. The thing is, we don't drag it to the mud. We argue with facts because facts are facts. And I don't go on opinion. I don't go on philosophy. I mean, it could be very dry, but the beauty is about science is it's an inherent truth, whether you agree with it or not. Quote Neil deGrasse Tyson: E equals MC squared, whether you believe it or not. So it's just one of those kinds of things. So I mean, we will hear someone make a claim, and we're just that. If you remember the show Adam Ruins Everything, we're kind of like, well, actually, no, and this is why.
I love Adam. That's a great show. Well, there are those out there. I guess maybe like Jen from Jen's Little Corner. We could get her on the show. She's big into that. There's quite a few of them who really enjoy engaging these conspiracy theories people and debunking their woo. I used to call them the woo fighters. Chris Atlee. Let's see. There's Jay from the Nevermore Taverns. That group of people. Or really, I guess they, like Nokasuchi, spend a bit more of their time engaging these people. I couldn't do it. I like you, Andy. I just couldn't do it. That's my deal. I don't debate. You don't see me lining up to debate or deal or interact with these people. I like my little echo chamber. If they come along and they're too much trouble, we just bunk and they're gone away because I just don't want to engage them. I don't want them disturbing my calm. You know what I mean?
Well,
with their nonsense.
I don't mind talking with people who don't agree with me, and I wouldn't actually be against debating. And I have, or having discussions with people, but it has to be on my terms, and it has to be in regarding to my terms. I mean, it has to be at the time of my choosing. I just can't get stuck into this Vietnam-like combat with other people and just get stuck in it day after day.
That reminds me of something, by the way.
Yeah.
If I may jump in. I don't know if you guys knew about, I think I remember bringing it up last year or earlier this year, I think it was, Matt Powell, the hate preacher. When he came up here, he came all the way to Washington just so he could have this interview with me. And I refused to ad-lib with him. I did everything completely scripted. I told him he could ask me exactly the questions and I will provide him a pre-done answer, and I just refused to drag myself into the mud about that. And he said he was going to have, this interaction between us on this documentary he made. Well, it's funny. He came out with his documentary calling it The Atheist Religion, and our interaction's not on there because all the people he went with were all people he could drag into the mud. And it's like, well, isn't that funny? Because, I refused to ad-lib with him, and I pointed out exactly what the facts are, and he had nothing. So, of course, he didn't put me on there because it just completely shot him to crap.
Right. Lady Starfire was saying, back to a point I made earlier, it was except it was my sister and brother-in-law, more her than him. But he didn't stand up to her at the beginning of the pandemic, so she had to drop them off from social media. I can appreciate that, Lady Starfire. But Matt Powell, he's just scum. He is scum. And what he does for people who aren't acquainted with him, he puts on this baby-faced nice guy act to lure you in, to get you into a conversation, and then he just edits the crap out of the footage to make you look like an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was the thing with Matt Powell. I was incredibly careful. I actually pre-published the script on our website, so that way, if there was any malicious editing, I could point at the script and say, actually, no, this is the conversation right here. I told him I wouldn't, and I told him I refuse to ad lib. I'm going to go exactly by the script as I give it to you. So you're going to give me these pre-done questions, and I'm going to give you these pre-created responses, and that's exactly how I'm going to go, and I'm not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
And
that
it's
was
just
wise.
funny how
That was wise.
he came all the way up here to Washington from wherever the heck he came from, just for him to not use that material.
Yeah.
I think he's in Arizona now with who is that guy? Steve Anderson, who's the lunatic preacher telling saying gays should die, and the traditional Christian, really hardcore Christian fascism.
Right. Well, this thing of these Christians doing interviews and then hacking them up is nothing new. Matt Powell got his example from the Banana Man. What's his name? Ray Comfort, the Banana Man.
Ray Comfort.
He blocked me on down.
He blocked me on Facebook when I actually called his bluff.
Which one?
He was doing those little pop interviews with people who claim to be atheists, and I effectively said, "Hey, how about you actually do a real interview with a real atheist, and we'll sit down and actually talk." And he effectively told me to go read a Bible, and then blocked me from the page.
Job well done.
Dragons in Genesis, Jason Folks is in the chat. He's going to be joining us Monday, I believe, on the show. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Stop by Monday to join us. Don't forget, we got the phone number. So give us a call, 940-DAMN-SHOW, 940, don't tell me I know this one, 326-7469. Give us a call, say hi, visitate, and let us know your thoughts on any of these topics that we happen to be talking about right now. So
we should actually start talking about news stuff, right? I mean,
we can.
Okay,
we got plenty.
We always have plenty.
Go.
I mean, you can tell how it's been a slow news cycle ever since the election, but there's always stuff out there that's just crazy to talk about. Like this.
I don't recognize the election.
So this is the article Chris messaged me earlier today. It's from CNBC. Quote, "We want them infected," unquote. Trump HHS appointee said in email, pushing to expose infants, kids, and teens to COVID to reach, quote, herd immunity, unquote. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm happy about? At least he didn't say herd mentality.
May as well have, almost.
All right. So let's talk about the key points here. A Trump Health and Human Service Department appointee repeatedly discussed pursuing a so-called herd immunity approach to the COVID-19 outbreak this summer. New emails obtained by a House committee show. Mm-hmm. Representative James Clyburn, a Democrat from South Carolina, chairman of the Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Crisis, which obtained the emails, said the documents demonstrate a pernicious pattern of political interference. Ousted HHS scientific advisor Paul Alexander, who was brought in by longtime Trump ally Michael Caputo, sent the emails around to other HHS officials. I am shocked, surprised, and amazed that someone within the Trump administration suggested that women, children, small furry animals, all right, maybe not small furry animals, should be exposed to COVID so that we get herd immunity. Aren't you surprised about that, gentlemen?
I don't know where my pearls are, but when I find them, I will clutch them. I promise. Okay,
very good. Very good. So those are the high points. Those are the bullet points. Now we'll get into the article itself. A Trump appointee at the Department of Health and Human Services repeatedly pushed this summer to adopt a COVID-19 strategy in the U.S. that would keep businesses open, because you know how important crony capitalism is, open while exposing infants, kids, and teens and others to the coronavirus in an attempt to achieve so-called herd immunity, according to emails obtained by House lawmakers. Rep. James Clyburn, chairman of the subcommittee, which obtained the emails, said the documents demonstrate a, quote, pernicious pattern of political interference by administration officials, unquote. So here's a quote from the emails. infants, kids, teens, young people, young adults, middle age with no conditions, etc., have zero to little risk. So we use them to develop herd. We want them infected and recovered.
Did he spell it right? He didn't even spell it right, did he?
Herd. Oh, the copy that I'm reading right now, he said it is. I don't think anything is misspelled. So what's fascinating are all these people who aren't epidemiologists, who aren't doctors, think that they know what's best for the country based on maybe a Wikipedia article and the fact that they want to keep the economy open to make money.
Yeah. See, I have a feeling my belief is this, is that Trump saw the virus as an opportunity to suppress the vote. So he started spreading it as much as he could. This herd immunity thing is just an excuse. It's the lie they use to convince his side that spreading the virus was good. So that's what I think. It's just a big lie, and they bought it.
There's something fundamentally dangerous about this. They seem to have this idea that COVID-19 is like influenza, which is deadly, yes, but usually people tend to get away with it with few and far and in between comorbidity. And what we are finding out with COVID is there are a lot of comorbidities with this virus. In fact, as Andy would probably know this as well, there was a study that came out not too long ago that showed 1 in 5 people within, I think it was 60 days of a COVID diagnosis exhibited signs of mental illness. Yeah. And there's also the comorbidities that we see with blood clot factors. Mm-hmm. So there's higher instances of post-infection stroke and heart attack. There is soft organ damage that is associated with this virus. It is not like influenza. Right. The things that it does are absolutely horrible. So yeah, you may have survived the initial infection, but what it may do to you afterwards, we still don't know. And the things that we are finding out are very disturbing.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Clouded mind, foggy headed for months. I've heard, like you said, emotional, what'd you call it? Psychological issues. And then of course there's the long-term effects to the lungs.
Yeah.
And whenever you go around this notion that we're just going to give it to the healthy children, how is that going to happen? How are you going to spread this amongst the population in such a carefree manner, cavalier, if you will? How are you going to spread it like that and only get the healthy people sick? The ones with no comorbidity. That's stupid to think that they can spread it to all the kids and that their grandparents aren't going to get it, or somebody who is vulnerable is not going to give it. That's just stupid and dangerous, by the way. I'm just saying.
And that someone within the administration was thinking, well, don't we have chickenpox parties for young kids so that they would get natural? See, now Daniel's about to stroke out right here too. He's got whole.
It hurts right here.
There's someone in the Trump administration, maybe the president himself, saying, "Why don't we just have COVID parties?" So we can. Oh wait, maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Oh, let's look that up. There were COVID parties. I remember that. COVID parties. Google, don't fail me now. COVID I don't even have to finish typing it. Party.
You don't even have to do.
COVID parties.
One of the other things that I remember seeing was I was reading professional athletes. They're seeing cardiac muscle damage and significant reduced performance post-infection.
Did you guys see the basketball player who had recovered from COVID and then he just dropped on the basketball court like a sack of coal?
I hadn't heard of that.
He was playing. He was just walking from one end of the court to the other. I guess it was in between plays or in a moment of non-play, and then he literally just dropped like dead weight.
Really,
like dead weight. And I'm like,
he was dead.
Well, he wasn't dead. I don't know what happened to the lad. I know they had to put him into an ICU unit. No, and I don't know what happened to him, but the video itself, I'm sure it's easily Googleable. But it was pretty scary to watch.
I imagine. Yeah. I'm not going to Google that one just yet. It's too early for disturbing videos.
This is why I fear this idea of, let's do the Trump equivalent of a pox party with COVID-19. I mean, yes, we know varicella has comorbidities. We know shingles is a risk later on in life, and the things that it can cause are absolutely horrible. But we don't know very much about COVID, and the things that we are finding out about it are very disturbing.
Well, one thing you can definitely say is that COVID is not going to help you out in 10 years from now. Having had COVID isn't going to help you. It isn't going to give you any perks. Here's a little bit more from the article, by the way.
Well, real quick before you go on,
the country, these officials callously wrote.
Wait, real quick before you go on. You said it's not going to give you anything in the future. COVID isn't, but I just wanted to mention that if the conservatives have their way, COVID will become a pre-existing condition, and you won't be able to get insurance properly.
Well, you're right
about
what I'm
saying. So there's some things COVID will get you by the right-wing trash. I'm just
nothing
saying.
Positive. Nothing positive.
Well, a positive COVID test.
Yeah. Besides that, exactly. I see what you're. That's good. I like that.
I'm sorry, Andy. Please go on with your thing. I was muted before I tried to interrupt you before I interrupted you, but I was muted and then I unmuted. My bad. Carry on.
Quote, as the virus spread through the country, these officials callously wrote, "Who cares?" and "We want them infected," Clyburn said in a statement. Well, they privately admitted they always knew the president's policies would cause a rise in cases. And they plotted, here it comes. And they plotted to blame the spread of the virus on career scientists.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's just crazy. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. And yet, didn't a scientist get her house raided about a week and a half ago down in Texas? Yeah, was it? Yeah. So that does happen. We've got a caller here. We're gonna pop them in. The caller thing didn't give me a good name. Let's just see what happens here. Good morning, caller. How are you doing this morning? You're not David Paul, but good morning.
Hey there, it's the Lone Wanderer.
Hey, Lone Wanderer. Good morning. You don't sound like David at all. Sorry, they can't. Yes, there we go. Okay, so thank you for calling us. How's it going this morning?
Oh, it's going well. Yeah, been up a little bit earlier than I usually do. We were helping some friends move out of the house, and they gave us a whole bunch of free stuff. So I now have one of those outdoor propane fire pit things, and I'm excited. Because I looked up the price of them, and those are expensive.
Yeah, now you can throw a prawn on the Barbie. Did I do that?
No, I'm not. Look, maybe I'll throw crawfish. I'm in Louisiana.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. That's the accent.
Yeah. I moved to the States in 2012.
Well, you did kind of sound like a coon ass. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, that'll get you far in this house.
No, it won't. I got a friend who's from Louisiana. He used to come down to Texas. His family would come down and they would cook this stuff, and it was just, it's like half crab. The whole crab, they just throw the whole crab in there, and there's like legs poking out. It was rough stuff. I couldn't.
What, gumbo?
Maybe. Do you put half crab in gumbo?
Yeah, you can if you're rich.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. What made you move to Florida, if I can ask? I mean, Louisiana, of all places.
Well, I had been in a really long-term relationship, and that went down Periscope. And my husband, now, he was in New Zealand on a working holiday. So you can basically have a vacation and work around, and you get like a 3-month or a 6-month visa. And we ended up meeting online through a dating app, and then we met up in real life. And the rest is history. Well, no, he was getting really depressed. He wanted to come home. He was, it wasn't for him. And I didn't have much close skin, so I was like, well, what the hell?
New Zealand, New Zealand is a personal goal of mine. I made this quite straightforward and blatant, and that is if I'm going to travel somewhere, to move permanently, my go-to place would be Middle Earth, New Zealand.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Well, my mom will put you up. She'll put anyone up that comes over. You're a place to stay.
We've talked about that. I'd love to travel there, or I've thought about moving maybe to Australia. Either one, New Zealand, Australia.
You'll be a rich man in New Zealand, because right now, I can get about $1.41 to the US dollar.
Really?
Sweet.
So
wow.
Yeah, almost. I'm almost getting half. Over, because when I have to pay my student loan, I always look at the interest rate, and I'm like, okay, interest rate's good today, so I'm paying you more.
So what's 1.4 times 0? I'm asking for a friend.
Interesting. Yeah. So, did you call to talk to us? Do you have some story about the COVID stuff to talk to us about concerning our COVID?
Yes, I had a crazy COVID thing. People have been coming out with this dumb shit on, how you can, cure the COVIDs. Our governor, John Bell, fucking Edward, sorry swearing. I'm sorry. It's not ladylike. But I hate that man with every fiber of my being. He told people on around July that if we skipped lunch and we prayed every day, it would get rid of the Rona.
For reals? Really?
Yeah,
yep,
I heard about
really?
that.
And
oh man.
Yeah, and he got a slap on the wrist from ACLU because you can't say that on on your government Twitter.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And every time he says something like that, I always tell him, you can't say that, John.
You can't. Yeah. We were talking about us traveling there and going to Australia and going to New Zealand, but because of this very thing that you're talking about, the way the cooties is spread across the country, they probably wouldn't let us in.
No, you have to be quarantined in a hotel that you can't freaking afford. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame them. Americans, no, keep them out. Which kind of Americans? There's we're not all bad, but that's a hard sell.
No, you're not. And no, you're not. And it really breaks my heart to see a lot of people out there just flouting it. Look, I'm an asthmatic. I have been since birth, and I've been hiding in this house since February. But I'm an introvert anyway. I've been training my whole life for this. But it does get a bit much when you only get a couple of hours out to the grocery store. I really want to go back to the casino.
Goals, gotta have goals. I want to go back to the restaurant. There's this one I used to have that made these burritos.
Exactly, because that's where we go to eat. We go over on either to Mississippi on the coast, or we'll go to Harrah's in New Orleans and eat.
Gotcha,
yeah, I think this is probably physically speaking, this is probably the healthiest I've been for a while, just because I haven't been at the pub.
Yeah. Well, see, I bought the pub home.
There you go. I haven't been ill of course I hardly get out. Look, I drive through. Everything is drive through. We've been to one, maybe two restaurants, I guess, in almost a year now. And I haven't had a cold, a cough, a sniffle. Occasionally I get allergies. Occasionally I'll eat something that doesn't agree with me, and I'm like, gurgle, gurgle, what's that noise? But as far as a cold or an illness,
I am desperate for a decent steak.
There you go. Well, what it's turned into us is we decide what parking lot we want to go sit in.
I know, that's so sad.
Yeah. And so we'll go, and we're like to 3 or 4 places. Do you want tacos, or do you want pizza, or do you want and then it's burgers, and then it's always the same, months and months and months outside of eating at home. Who wants to do that?
In some ways, I guess I'm lucky that a lot of my routines did not get interrupted because of this virus.
Yeah, for me, it was the pub, because I'm going to say it again, because I'm really sad about not going to the pub.
I know.
ideal pub weather, just going in there and watching snow fall. I mean, that's great. And of course, I'm not working. Okay, and am I sad about not working? Maybe it's the money really that makes me kind of.
Well, I would say my jobs went down Periscope.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah? What did you do?
I was working from home as a freelance ghostwriter and also teaching English as a second language. So, those things always go first, don't they?
Yeah.
Everyone's tightening their belts. But, Laughing, you're up in Massachusetts, aren't you?
I'm up in Mass.
Yeah. Bless my husband's heart. He cannot say Massachusetts to save himself.
No. Well, Andy can't say Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's their record? Do they have a record this year? I think the only record they have
rebuilding season, Chris. It's a rebuilding season.
I got no room to talk. I'm a Vikings fan. No room to talk. I'll go cry in the corner.
Well, I just root against anyone who's playing against the Saints just to piss everyone off.
Wait, didn't Drew Brees hurt himself? Didn't Drew Brees like bruise a fallopian tube or something during a game recently?
I'll have to remember that one.
I thought he was down for a while. He's out for a while, right?
Yeah, I think he is. So he keeps saying he's in, he's out, I can't even keep up anymore. Yeah.
It's the minis. Let's see here. All right. Well, let me see if I got anything else going on. You know what we're going to do next week? I want to tell people about. Tomorrow I'm not going to do the show. I got some tech issues I want to work on. I want to figure out why. It's like yesterday, the same thing happened. When I fired up the show, everything was out of place. All my monitors, all the sound. I managed to get them all yesterday, except I didn't. Remember, Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Because your audio was coming through and I had to fix it. Well, this morning when I rebooted my computer, everything was back. And I got to figure that out. So I'm going to take tomorrow off. Monday, we're going to have Dragons in Genesis joining us. Jason Folks, he's going to join us.
Oh.
Wednesday, I'm going to run an anniversary stream. We're going to have a stream for the anniversary of the show, the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Other than that, I don't plan on streaming next week. Monday and Wednesday. I'm going to take tomorrow off. Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's gonna be. I'm gonna call it a burnout break because I'm burning out. To be honest, I'm getting to the point where I don't want to do the show. I don't want to get up. I don't want to sit here. The show starts. I'm like, oh my god, is it only 10 minutes into the show? I'm ready. I need a break. So I'm gonna take that over the next couple of weeks.
The holiday break anyway. So you have the excuse.
Yeah. See, that's great. I thought about reaching out to other atheist content creators and seeing if they wanted to sit in for me. And I could just sit here and run the show because I actually kind of like the tech end of it. I just, I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know. I haven't made any plans. Don't know any. But otherwise, we'll be streaming Monday and Wednesday. Well, Andy might want to break too. He's been streaming with me every day for months now, so he might want to break too.
It's difficult to keep this up on a daily basis, but somehow I'm able to.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we're going to do. I'm going to do that. So we'll be tomorrow. I'm not going to stream. I'm going to mess with the tech issues. I'll be dropping shorts probably on both channels. And then next Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I don't plan on streaming. So, and actually, if it hadn't been that I already had an arrangement for Jason Folks to be here next Monday, I wouldn't stream Monday either. But he's going to be here. And I so enjoy his show. With Jason, I really don't have to do anything. He kind of goes about himself. You just start the topic, and he knows it all, and he's going to tell you. That's fun.
Well, Jason's coming on my channel tomorrow at 11 a.m. and I binged through his Book of Enoch series within his show, the 5 or 6 episodes, and so I am intrigued and interested in asking him and delving deeper into the Book of Enoch and what relationship it has with modern day Christianity, the influences, because it seems to be quite a bit, quite a few.
Well, that's one I find interesting too. I want to learn more about it. We had Richard on the show the other day and we talked to him. Are you familiar with the Book of Enoch, Lone Wanderer?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I used to have an alternative history class in high school and we read it, and it is crazy.
Cray, right. So, but I'd like to get more. I've never really read it myself. I've just kind of hurled stones.
Right.
I know a little bit about it, just enough to criticize.
It's online,
Oh yeah. No doubt. I could. I just don't really go skipping along to read biblical scriptures.
No, I don't make it a habit,
Yeah, but with Richard, he was so interesting on the show to have, and he's such a fun character. But Andy, I like watching Andy watch Richard. Because you don't often get to see people's veins pop through the skin. I mean, sometimes you do, but with Andy, Richard starts talking and his face changes. It's a show. And his ability to control himself is fantastic.
Well, whenever I'm engaging with someone I don't agree with, that I try to think to myself, where are they coming from? I try to put on my counselor hat. It's like, where are they coming from, and what's the best way for me to interact and to have a meaningful conversation with them. That's what I try to do. On the other hand, the comedian.
When Andy's go ahead.
What's that?
I say I can always tell when Andy's upset because you can see like your forehead kind of twitching a little from the side, around the temple,
Yeah.
Like he's gonna blow.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
Anyone who does comedy has this undercurrent of anger. Even someone who does clean comedy, there is this kind of undercurrent. And so, I
guess still waters don't run deep.
Just until you go splashing around in it, and then everything goes crazy. I'm just checking my chat here. Thank you, Jess M, and all those wonderful people. Yeah, my wife loves the show and loves that I do the show and thinks it's a great thing and doesn't want me to get burned out and wants me to keep going. So, yeah, it's a cool thing. I tell you, it just gets wearing on a person after a while, and I kind of need to step out for a bit.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've taken a month off doing my Word of the Day series on my channel because I just, even though it's like a 15-second video, like I got to research stuff, record it, make sure it sounds right and all of that. And, it gets to be a lot,
Absolutely.
That's the thing. I've been blogging for well over a decade, and I've only been YouTubing, if I guess that's a verb, for the last few months since the apocalypse, really consistently. And it is a job, and it is a job. I was joking with my girlfriend about it. She's going on vacation. Her company shuts down for a couple of weeks around this time of year. And I'm going, and she's like thinking that I'm taking time off too. It's like, no, I am not taking time off from the job I don't get paid for. Oh, okay. Sometimes I get paid. I might have made something like $10 yesterday. All right, from all of my endeavors. And so, I'm not taking time off from that lucrative job.
Right. Yeah, I know. Can't walk away from that. Well, as a content creator, anybody out there who's a content creator on YouTube knows that there's this, and this is a new phrase. I keep hitting my desk. There's a new phrase I've been using is tickle the algorithm. And you got to kind of keep going. You're trying to build this because hopefully someday it'll pay your bills. So you got to keep working it and working it and working it. You made $2 today. Woohoo! And you work it and work it and work it. And it's not easy for damn sure. But like Andy's channel, he was doing his for years and just letting it go. And it wasn't until he actually started working it like a job. Yeah. And you got to stay after that metric. You can't stop. Well, I'm going to stop streaming next week. And will our viewership drop from like 40 down to 25 for the first week or so? And we have to build them back up because we lost viewership. I'm going to try to drop a whole bunch of shorts and actually build the Daily Atheist Morning Show over the next week while we're gone and hopefully be driving traffic. But there's no guarantee that'll work.
No guarantee of it.
It's just, I just tickle the algorithm. But because I'm going to stop, that's going to make the algorithm not love me so much.
Oh, it won't.
I was saying to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying to Andy the other day, with Matt Powell's Atheist Religion movie, that's just like him putting, boobs in the, in the meta description, big boobs. It's just him trying to drive traffic.
Right. Yeah. There,
Does that-
I
okay.
was actually at a comedy conference last year.
Is that all it
There are
takes?
comedy conferences for comedians and for writers.
Okay.
And I was talking to this guy from The Onion. He was writing articles for The Onion, and we were both, because I write satirical pieces on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, and we were both talking about how much effort we just put into the title, the eye catchiness of the title, and it always has to be under 8 words or maybe 7 words, and you spend as much effort on the title as you do on the content within the blog post itself, and it's just a crazy way of going about business, trying to work the algorithm and just try to bring attention to what you're doing.
Yep, and I have to say it does get old. So as you guys notice, if you pop up normally, now here's something I was going to try. Normally, this is going to be a little weird. Normally, when I take a little day off or vacay, I take and download recorded shows and I post them. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to. You get to miss me for a few days. So, that's how I'm going to roll with it this time.
Is that the word we're going to be using for this, Chris? Missing
Probably
you?
not. Maybe not,
word?
Andy. It'll be a mutual not missing. No, I actually enjoy the people. I enjoy the show. There's things about the show that I really love, and getting up and doing all this stuff. That's why I want to take a break, because I don't want to start hating it.
Personally, I think everyone enjoys my company, to tell you the truth.
Right. See, your company's fantastic. I mean, of course, there's differences in level of. You turn on your computer, you talk and you're witty and beautiful and you read an article. I mean, I got 6 monitors up. I've got 5 different streams.
Well,
it's a lot.
If anyone's acquainted with my work on my own channel when I'm not doing the damn show, it's basically me being clever, witty, and talking to people after I've read their articles and books. And if anything, it's more of an amped up version of NPR in a lot of ways. That, and of course, jokes. That, and of course comedy shorts and all that other stuff. But I enjoy
your people you bring. You get such great characters or people to get on your show. I don't know where you get them, but man, you do a great job.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and so I know people, and they are willing to talk to me, which I'm surprised at, and they are always interested. Like, I have Dale McGowan on at 11 a.m. I don't know why Dale talks to me. He's a professor. He, did Foundation Beyond Belief. He's the founder of Foundation Beyond Belief. But he talks to me, and we're going to go and talk about holiday music, which, this is another reason why I'm not popular, is because I don't do the niche thing on my channel either. Sure, I talk about atheism, but I'm going to talk about the things that I'm intellectually curious about. So if I want to talk about holiday music, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up and get after our weekend. I want to thank you, the Lone Wanderer, for calling in. I very much appreciate it. This is her first call in. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Very much appreciate it.
You guys absolutely. You guys have a good day, and I'll catch you out there in the netherworld.
Okay. Take care. You too. Thank you very much.
Another world. It's still dark outside.
It is. Well, you live in Mordor.
Yours is more nether. The nether region, I guess we could call it. All right. Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye
guys.
now.
Thank you, Andy. I'm gonna thank you, Daniel. As I said, I'm gonna go ahead and before my damn lung gets me, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you to everybody in the chat. Andy, you said you had things going on. You want to recap?
I have Dale McGowan coming on at 11 a.m. in just a little bit over an hour. I have Jason from Dragons and Genesis on tomorrow at 11 a.m. to talk about the Book of Enoch. Virtual Black Mass by the Satanic Temple. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and small furry animals. We're going to be talking about that on my channel on my new late night show with Jack Maturko, Satanist Extraordinaire, at 10:30 p.m. on Sunday night. That's going to be a lot of fun. And Tuesday next week, my buddy Jonathan Pierce, who's been on my channel a bunch of times, he has a book out about the Nativity. I am reading the book about the Nativity right now. So when he comes on my channel on Tuesday, wicked early, if I could use such bold language, wicked early at 7 a.m. Eastern, we're going to talk about the Nativity. So I got things moving.
Gotcha. How about you, Daniel? You got anything coming up you want to chill out before we head off?
Oh no, I mean we just check. You could just check out APN's site. We're always publishing content constantly. So I mean,
Always slaying the
if you don't see
dragon.
something coming off the website, check out the Facebook page. There's we got 52 some odd admins that make that thing roll. So I mean, there's always something there that make you spit out your coffee.
Indeed.
Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, thank you to you two, and thank you to everybody in the chat. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm not going to see you tomorrow, but we'll see you next Monday with Jason, folks, and we'll talk about the thing at the place with the stuff. Jesus Christ and some stuff, I think. So you guys have a great day, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Be strong.
Do you love Jesus? Do you love America? Do you love yelling at strangers? If you answered yes, then there is a new version of the good book for you. The All Caps Bible. The All Caps Bible has everything from the sacred text you would expect. God creates the world in 6 days. Noah saves bunnies from the great flood. Jesus preaches God's message in the Sermon on the Mount. However, the All Caps Bible levels up the message by putting everything in all caps. That's right, you don't have to go to church to hear God's message yelled at you. This Bible will yell at you while you're reading it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Christians love the All Caps Bible. Here are a few reviews. Mason in Dallas, Texas says, I don't feel guilty anymore yelling at the Starbucks barista. Karen in Oklahoma says, Jesus' message of forgiveness is better when you yell it. And Tommy in South Bend says, who knew the little drummer boy was such a jerk? Buy the All Caps Bible right now and get a loudspeaker so you too can spread the good news. You get everything for a low cost of $89.99. Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.